Rodney Hyde.
I'm sorry to interrupt the member on his feet. I accept the point he's making, but I'd ask you, sir, you're not allowed to refer to a person's presence in the House, or more particularly their absence in the House, and actually the same rule applies, I believe, to a select committee.
I'll take a point of order from Charles Chauvel.
Well, just speaking to the point of order, Mr. Speaker, I'm not in any way referring to the absence or presence of a member in the House or in a committee. I'm describing objective facts about the decision of the member to no longer come to the committee, and I'm sure it's not an announcement with which the member would have any dispute.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm entirely fresh with all the Speaker's rulings and on this matter, but I want to say this. It's not always an absolute rule that you must not refer to the absence of a member. It's an open rule and a general one. And I took it from the member's member's speech, that this was in no particular way a direct criticism of the member concerned. People are very busy in this job, and everyone here in this House knows that you cannot do every job that's before a Member of Parliament. For someone to say, I'm too busy to do that, is perfectly, in my opinion, acceptable, and it's much better than the alternative, which is to continue to do the job and say you're going to do the job and not do it because of a shortage of time. I didn't see this as being a personal reflection on Rahui Kartane. Certainly wasn't the tenor of the speech, and from that point of view, I have no objection to the member continuing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What I was going to go on to say was that after Rahui Kartane announced that she was going to withdraw from the business of the committee, she didn't resign from the committee. She simply arranged with the National Party whip that she would be permanently replaced by a member of the National Party, a different member on different occasions in the committee. Now, this is a problem from the point of view of the independence of the Scrutiny Committee, because it now has a permanent majority of National Party members. And for this reason, the laughable consultation process to which I've referred was approved by the Regulations Review Committee, Labor members dissenting, as I say, in a very unusual move. Now, the decision of Ms Kartane to withdraw and allow herself to be permanently replaced has ramifications beyond this debate today, beyond the issue of whether or not the Minister and her consultation process should have passed muster in the committee. We have routine scrutiny of every regulation that is promulgated by the government. Every piece of delegated legislation that becomes part of the law of this land comes before the Regulations Review Committee for scrutiny. The Canterbury emergency orders are all coming to the committee for scrutiny by special arrangement of this House, so that the public can be assured that the House is giving proper scrutiny to those extraordinary orders. Now, my plea to the Māori Party is to take responsibility for membership of the Regulations Review Committee seriously. I would love to see...
Point of order, Rahui Kartane.
Speaker, if I were to see how this line fits with the debate, I think that it's pulling it too far away from the subject of the debate, and I think that he needs to bring it back to the debate.
Well, no, I'm going to allow the member to continue, because what the member's describing is the process of, for me anyway, is the process by which the committee came to this decision, and the workings of the committee, which is part of the reason why we are here today having a debate on a disallowance motion. So I'm going to allow the member to continue. Point of order. Paul Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Speaker, in his last statement, the Speaker said quite directly that the Māori Party did not take its responsibilities in this House seriously, and I think that reflects badly on the workings of this House and that party.
Well, I just want to say to the member, firstly, if the point of order fails on two counts. Firstly, you cannot take offence on behalf of another person. just as you cannot take offence on behalf of another party. And secondly, taking something seriously or not seriously is, I would suggest to you, an entirely debatable point. And if the member feels offended by that, I look forward to him not making similar allegations himself on the future. Call Charles Chauvel.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I'd love to see Rahui Kātane back on the Regulations Review Committee.
Very generous.
And I'm not sure whether that was Amy Adams or another member asking me to get out of the gutter, but I hope that she and other members of the Regulations Review Committee would acknowledge every attempt to chair that committee in an objective fashion. And if not, then I'll redouble my efforts. But what I was going to say was that the speech that we've heard from Rahui Kātane today was a superb speech. It dealt with the issues that ought to have been dealt with in the committee. And if the member had been present in the committee for the hearing and for the debate and the discussion, I know that the committee would have benefited greatly from her presence. But unfortunately, as I've said, she has abrogated her responsibility as a member of the committee and given to the National Party whip the right to appoint her replacement on every occasion. What this means, sir, is that we don't have an independent scrutiny committee in this Parliament. The Regulations Review Committee does play an important role in our constitutional arrangements, and its members, some of whom are present in the House, generally do an incredibly diligent job in trying to exercise the responsibilities that they have seriously. But, sir, the fact remains that it is hard for an for a government backbencher to resist the will of the executive. That's why the committee was set up the way it was at the beginning of this Parliament, with no government majority and with an independent chair. And only by restoring the independence of the committee can the House be truly assured that it will do its job properly, particularly with the pressing public importance of the Canterbury Orders coming up before it. And, Sarah, I'm just going to conclude on this note. If we don't see that proper balance in the committee restored, either by the Māori Party doing the right thing or the Business Committee taking charge of the issue, then I certainly cannot guarantee that this will be the last debate of its kind during the life of this Parliament.
I call Tim McIndoe.
Mr Speaker, and in light of the discussion about the points of order that we've just had, I too will return to a discussion of some of the process that the Regulations Review Committee, of which I